calling it an action calling. Thank you, because this space is supposed to inspire action in MCPs, especially for replanning. So like now you see like most of the conversation now will well after this, most of the conversation in the conference will lead to how you should guys planning towards your replanning and stuff like that. And this is one of the first space towards that. And then as the main mentioned, like have certain questions of how to go about your replanning based on your like the things you mentioned. This is one of the spaces where I'm just going to give you certain guiding questions and how to think about long-term planning. And then we have also like a GCP sharing space, one quick one. So yeah, let's begin. This is me. I hope you know me right now. What you may take back from this is like certain guiding questions for long-term planning, how you should go about it, certain tips, and we have like a GCP sharing from an amazing MCP in the region. All right, so let's begin. Certain expectations, be here and now, dive deep. Don't have like a The third thing is like don't keep the conversation just on an intellectual level, but then just think about implementation, because this long-term planning is like I get a lot of these questions during one-to-ones and whenever I talk with the MCPs, especially during replanning, we take forward this conversation where like what should be my long-term plan. Usually what happens, I was joking with Isro about this, is usually what happens is by replanning, MCPs understand hey, my job is just to just manage people and lead people, but like till replanning, like usually MCPs, if they don't take up like a lot of projects on themselves, they have usually not a lot of things to show what they have worked for the last 3-4 months, and then they get into sudden this thing, okay, hey, I just have like 5-6 months left and I also should contribute to something, like not product, or like then they take up legacy projects like alumni engagement and like digital marketing or whatever. And then this is when usually we start thinking about long-term planning, what should be like my legacy, how should I elect my successes and all that. And especially once you have success in about 1-2 months, you start thinking about this topic, hey, how should I make sure that my plans continue and then my legacy of this year continues in the next year and stuff like that. So usually when this happens, this thought process is still on a lot of intellectual level, but in this particular session I really wanted to go a dive a bit deeper and think about actually implementation of how you're going to plan for like a long term. Okay, and then last but not the least, share. Like this constitutes as like a learning circle and more like an intimate group, so I would want you to share. Okay, with that expectation, let's start. So I was reading this book, 0 to 1. How many of you read it? Read it, know it, heard about it. It's really nice. This guy called Peter Thiel. He's crazy, like founder of like PayPal, and then like a next level tech guy. Peter Thiel is the name in Silicon Valley if you're into tech startup and on. 0 to 1 is like a really nice book. It talks about this one concept called horizontal versus vertical progress. Right. Before we start talking about long-term planning, this is just a concept I want to mention. Does anyone know this concept? If you've read the book. No, yes, no. All right, cool. Very simple. So 0 to 1 talks about fundamental, like the book talks about like these innovations and all which changed things from 0 to 1. Like changing things from 1 to 1 is easy, but then changing things from 0 to 1 is like something very different. Okay. So there are two types of progress. What is like a horizontal progress or vertical progress? What is a vertical progress? Hey, if you have a typewriter and you make the typewriter 100 typewriters very fast, that is taking 1 to n. That is like a horizontal progress. But then something like a vertical progress would be typewriter to a computer. Like for example, like next level. What is the next level in what you're trying to achieve? So like usually in the large context, globalization is what means like 1 to n. For example, the example of China. Like how did they grow suddenly? From socialist, like when they opened up, they just copied a lot of Western things which are already there, like railroad systems, like sorry, I was about to say democracy, railroad systems, and more like technology, wireless technology, and all these things. They just adapted and then they just took it from 1 to n, but more like city planning and all those things. But then, like technology transfer is like something like introduction of, say, I don't know, 5G or like the big data and this kind of things, like which change things from 1 to n, right? So this concept you should know before you think about long term. In ISEC, a lot of times what we do is like 1 to n. We take things already worked somewhere else in some other entity. We take GCPs and replicate it. We do it in a better way and stuff. But there are certain entities, sometimes they also think from 0 to 1 as well. Like I can give couple of example in this room. Shuei, right? Ice Cream Japan. Like the way you guys piloted VPP is one of, I would say, one of the 0 to 1 thing which is happening for ISEC, which is really an example of how other entities in AP or other entities in the world also should do VPP. Like that's sort of a piloting basically. Like anytime you pilot a new ALD or anything, that's time you take the leap from 0 to 1. Or I don't know, like ISEC in India, one of the early adapters of MXP. They didn't wait for XPAR to evolve. They just created their own digital systems for recruitment, and they have their own funnel planning and everything. So like that's how they're doing it. Or I said in Sri Lanka, like the way for the last 2 years you're doing with the digital transformation, like digital payments and all this whole ecosystem transformation. I think that is like a more fundamental change. It somewhere happened, but then still you've made it your own. So I mean, this sort of a concept we should have it in the mind, that whenever you think of a long-term plan, I'm going to ask you to like work on 3 years plan next time and think about this, like how many of these changes are you just replicating and how many are certain fundamental changes. Okay. What is the difference between strategy and direction? It's one and the same in external world, but in ISEC it's different. Why? Because we just have 1-year terms. It's not profit. It's not necessarily driven by money. So in ISEC, usually strategy and direction is somewhat used interchangeably, but then like no, there is a fundamental difference. Like direction, like I'll just give an example. Like ISRO session you attended, right? What happened? Yeah, ISRO session you attended, like 2025. What is the direction, midterm direction, and then you have each year strategy. But then these strategies are usually short term. You never plan for, like some of you, when you plan for 1-year strategies during your planning. Then some of you do like a long term plan, like 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Some of you have your own roadmaps and all. I'm going to comment on that later. But then the idea is, like in ISEC, it's one and the same. Like know the difference. What is the difference between like short term, long term, mid term? So for example, personally, pay off the debt is one of my, say, short term goals. Like I just want to clear off all my friends' debt, credit card debts, whatever. Long term, become a billionaire. Like this is my long term goal. And mid term, save at least about 20% of the monthly income could be my midterm strategy or midterm goal, right? What does this mean? Like midterm goal is nothing but more near in the future, but like more confirmed steps to achieve short-term future, like more sustainable solution for a short-term goal is like some sort of a midterm goal. But then what we are focusing on is like a bit long-term, okay, at least more than 1 year. So in ISEC, now you're entering replanning, so you should think a little bit about long-term plan also, like what is going to happen once my successor and his or her term. Like that sort of a thing you should start thinking about around replanning right now. And in ISEC, it may something look like this, like in MXP, for example, MXP downscaling completion, we are tracking it by percentage implementation is less than 12 months. We just want to get it done with the steering team and just replicate the success. But long term, what we are thinking is more like indirect KPIs, right? Like retention, turnover. It's not my personal example. I don't have data. I'm just giving an example. Retention, turnover, NPS. But like midterm could be like a lead to advanced funnel or a lead to alumni funnel or MX standard implementation. This could be one of the examples of like a midterm planning. But what we're focusing now in this session over here right now, we should start thinking about is like a bit long term, which is like 15 months plus. So your next semester, and then by the end of your successors years, like where do you see your entity? Like that's like a big guiding question, but then I'm going to break it down a little bit more as well. So all of you know this. Some of you were around when this happened, 2015, 2020, 2025. Very beautiful. We have steering team players here who were closely part of it. This evolution, like what it symbolizes is again direction. But then there's one thing I want to focus. There's one thing I want to focus on is like the strategic roadmap. Of course, this is called midterm ambition. But then at the end of the day, along with this ambition, along with this direction, we have specific strategies every year. And that is something called strategic roadmap. There's one fundamental thing on the website I want to focus on is what does strategic roadmap allows us to do is to identify the course of action that we want to take from where you are currently to where you want to be. All right. Is it clear so far? Are you guys with me or am I speaking too fast? Sometimes I tend to do. Are you guys with me? Shuhei, Lerman? All right. Beautiful. Amazing. So this is what you need to do. You don't need to create like your own roadmap and stuff, but then you need to know these two things: where you are currently exactly, and then the ideal state. Current state versus the ideal state, right? Where you are and where you want to be. As simple as that. Now the time frame between these two can be variable. So for some, like a long term means 1 year, 1.5 year, 2 years, but I'm saying at least 1.5 years, a little bit, and then you can take it forward from that. All right. So this is a fundamental question. A lot of you ask me, do I need to have a separate entity roadmap? My like with I can't emphasize this enough. No, I mean, you can, I mean, nobody can stop you legally. Like, there's no rule against it. But then having seen a lot of entities and CPs entities do it and not getting like, it's just like a lot of efforts. If done right, even if you do it wrong, it doesn't make sense. And even if you do it right, in my career, I have not seen, like, this is an honest truth, I've not seen any plans taken forward for more than 2-3 years. Like one of the best examples I can see maybe is in Brazil. They implemented for 4 years, and then that's it. But I think a lot of long-term success is owed to like a lot of long-term planning, but that doesn't necessarily mean you need to have your own strategic roadmap and stuff. Like if you're aligned with the KPIs and all, it should be still good to go. What you need to, like, this is one screenshot from Isru's session I was listening to. Like one thing he mentioned is like first align with your entity priority and then check the milestone of 2022. I'm on the record, but I'll just still say it, like we don't expect all of you to achieve all of the roadmap targets and everything. Like first align with your entity priority. Is it your entity priority to align to LPS response rate or income from partner or NPS response rate? If yes, very good, do it so that you contribute to like a bigger organizational roadmap. If no, then what is your priority? Like first know your priority, and then based on that have like a bit of a long-term plan. So far things are sounding theoretical, just like directions and tips, but things can get very practical right now. I'll just first invite Banuka to share a case study. Before I invite him, just want to give like a quick story. So when I was MCP 1819, the regional office back then, 1819, Jesse, Johnny, those are the people who thought of creating some regional strategy called middle player strategy, where we wanted to focus on certain entities who will then be like a key entities. Like back then, MOC, India, Indonesia were like top 3 entities, and then say 4, 5, 6 in terms of exchanges, volumes, and everything was like Indonesia. It was Sri Lanka, Vietnam, Malaysia. So like these 3 entities, sort of, we focused on like, let's focus on these middle players to make them like a key player. And that's why there's one strategy evolved. We took it forward next year is through called middle player strategy. We provided a bit specialized support to these MCPs in planning and replanning specifically, where they had to come up with like a 3 or 4 year plan during replanning of where the entity would evolve. Okay, and it happened during Navodaya and Siddhar's year. But I think Banuka, I think in Siddhar's year, like again, then when pandemic happened, it got like sidelined a little bit, and then Banuka is now reviving it. So he's going to share with us the progress. Banuka, over to you. Just share the screen, tell us how you're progressing, what is your thing, and then all of us is going to do like a quick exercise on next 3 years long-term plan. All right, Banuka, over to you.
Okay, thanks, Prag. I'll quickly share my screen as well.
You have like 6 to 7 minutes, and then you can ask me questions.
Yes. Right, still it's loading. Give me 30 seconds, maybe.
You want me to share?
No, cool. Now it's fine. Hope you can see the screen now.
Not yet. Yes, now.
Yes, great. So this is regarding the long-term plan of ISAC in Sri Lanka. Like Prag correctly mentioned, it is not coming from my term onwards, but what we saw in the previous years as well. ISAC in Sri Lanka basically conducting a lot of good initiatives, but sometimes continuing it is the issue for us. Like the long-term aspect, for an example, in our system there are some sort of initiatives happen, and they expected it to continue for 3 to 4 years, but some sort of things are not continuing. So in that case, for a new incoming member, they are usually starting things from the scratch. So it takes a lot of effort and it takes a lot of time as well. So what we understand was like there are a lot of good practices happening, and we have to continue those things. So that's why we have identified that the actions that we are taking inside the entity should align to a long-term plan. So the output that we have initially thought was to go for a separate roadmap for ISAC in Sri Lanka. So before we moving into the next part, like the first key things that we have identified was when we are understanding and aligning to the ISAC 2025 roadmap, like we thought like, okay, having a separate, completely separate roadmap might not work for your entity because we are part of a global organization. So in that case, what we thought was like, okay, let's do an analysis. Let's conduct an analysis based on our internal market, which means our membership and the customers, and again the external market, which means the other stakeholders that we are connected to. So the 75% of a portion allocated towards the internal market, and rest of the 25 was allocated for the external market. And back in the term 2021, Arfan was there as well, and Isuru was the chair when we had this initial discussion. So we thought to conduct an internal analysis. So that was the very first initiative that we have took. And based on that, actually, we have conducted two main touch points in terms of internal analysis. And then we conducted an external analysis. And what we did was, right, okay. So the context which were mentioned in ISAC 2025, which is implemented in the global level, is really relevant for Sri Lankan context as well. So what we did was, after doing this internal and external analysis, we have validated for the vision statements of ISAC 2025. And what we identified was like all the factors that we have considered are matching to ISAC 2025, which means we don't have to put an extra effort to go for something else. So in that case, it is very easier. Now it's time for us to build a certain roadmap, let's say for the up until ISAC year 2025. Let's create our goals and our missions in order to make that consistency in the entity. So that's why actually we initially had a conference in last April. So we had a space with the local committees as well. So there are 7 local committees back then, and they have drew these visions of their entities. So we consider all these things and we aggregate all these things, and what we come up with is with our own long-term plan. So it is completely aligned with the 3 vision statements of ISAC 2025. And there are certain, context changes happen because we need to, make it more relevant to ISAC Sri Lanka. So then we can contribute to the vision of ISAC as well. So one of the things that we have identified, right, by year 2025, we have to brand our organization's name. So that would be a very boosting factor for us to, raise customers at the same time, the members as well. And we thought to, evolve our leadership portfolio as well, the internal leadership portfolio, how we can add values for the customers as well as the membership. Likewise, for all the 3 factors for long-lasting ISAC, we, apart from the finance sustainability and HR sustainability, we go on with the governance as well, because it has to be implemented in ISAC Sri Lanka. And likewise for partnerships, the internal processes we have to improve a lot. So by 2025 we need to do it. And stakeholder awareness, currently it is also improving. Like back then we were desperate to have that presence inside the corporate sector, but right now we are gradually improving on that aspect. So by 2025 we want to become one of the leading youth run organization who develops young leaders in Sri Lanka. And also since we are partnering up with like-minded organization, it's our duty to enhance the partnerships, because by doing it, ultimately the benefit also coming towards our end. So likewise, we have restructure the longer term vision for ISAC in Sri Lanka for the year 2025. So basically, these are the sectors that we are specifically focusing on. So in the past conference we had recently in October, we have defined the matrix and goals that we want to achieve by the end of our term, and every member committee will define that goals in the NLDS in each and every year. So now what we are focusing is the education plan of it, And at the same time, in December, we are having our planning conference with EBs. So in that case, we will be defining the projects so the local committees can incorporate those projects and they can drive. So ultimately, our objective is to achieve the milestones or the matrices or the goals of the entity. And on top of all, it is our duty to create leadership experiences. So that's the main objective of us. So there was a wonderful team with us over the past 2 to 3 months. So we were continuously working on it, and we have successfully, achieved the first milestone. But now it's time to, create the projects, and in December we are planning to launch it as well. So yes, so that's the story of it, of Isaac Sri Lanka's creating longer term plan. Yeah, thanks.
Right, that's beautiful. Thank you, Banago, for sharing that. Any questions? Quick questions. I can take like 1, 2. Going thrice.
Yeah, I'll ask Maruge. So Machang, how did you define the goal setting? Now, how are you planning to do that in the upcoming planning summit with your EPs? Like the goal setting and the strategy validation.
Yes, actually, we have already set up the next year's goals based on the analysis that we conducted via through the EB, which means the leadership body of Isaac in Sri Lanka. So based on that, actually, we initially had a plan, like this is the goal that we want to achieve, but then we validated it by getting the sensing from the leadership body of Isaac in Sri Lanka as well. So through that, actually, we have confirmed it. Okay, this is the possible target that we can achieve.
I have one question. I typed in the chat. Like, what is the preparations that you had before, like coming out with a long-term plan? For example, you research on your membership, you research on like how is the government trend for the country, things like that. Any research or preparations that you had made?
Yes, to go to those things, actually, we have taken a lot of inputs from AI as well as from the alumni, and also while we are in the MC 2021, we had a lot of discussions on this as well. So based on those discussions, actually, we thought, okay, these are the factors that we have to consider and the proportions as well. So those were the preparations, and we have analyzed the past terms as well, the consistencies of the terms. So that is the main driving point for us, the lack of consistency to have a longer term vision. Hope I did answer to your question, Lamin.
Okay, thanks.
If you have more questions, you can feel free to get in touch with them. I think not only Sri Lanka, but I think a couple more entities have long-term plans. What I'm going to do is like go to the link I just shared. That's the next page, which is it'll land you here. All right. All right. ND development path. So this is something regional development path we came up with last year. Okay. Of course, like the products one didn't get it followed exactly. So what we did is when we were planning actually as RO, that was MC replanning back then. You can check the dates around 15 November. We actually did, okay, this is the current state we have in the region for everything. And then what do we want the 2021 milestones to be? What do we want 2022 milestones to be? We actually had, for example, exact entities. Say, for example, we wanted these entities to be level 2 sustainable, blah, blah, blah. We had exact names, details, percentages for membership, funnel targets, at least for the next 3 years projection, right? This is something we did at regional level, just for your reference. Okay, don't need to copy or whatever. But then COVID happened and a lot of this not get achieved. I think the membership is somewhere still there, 70-75%. But then what I wanted to look at is this. Okay, I'll give you 5 minutes. I mean, just use it. Okay. For example, make a copy of this yourself, like use it in your replanning and stuff. Ask yourself this question, like what is the current state you have in terms of everything? Like what just overall zoom out. Okay. Number of LCs, MC members, board, BD partners, whatever financial metrics, products run, realizations, any additional KPIs you want to track for partnership, membership, finance, OD, whatever, okay, in addition, in anything you want to track. Write down the current state you have, 2022 milestones by the end of your year, what do you want to achieve in specific KPIs, okay? And then specifically for the next year, like again, more optimistic, realistic, and pessimistic goals. If resources weren't an issue, what would you envision for, say, number of members you have? Or like in the worst case scenario, what is the minimum number of MOCR you need to have in the next 2-3 years? Like these are the kind of questions ask yourself, and then just use this. In the interest of time, I'm not going to go deeper. But this, make a copy of this. I didn't specifically wanted to make it exactly like 2025 because then we'll start thinking in that direction. But remember, like first figure out your entity priority and then only do like a bit of a long-term planning. I guess with me so far, this is a pretty simple one. Like, you don't need to know exactly this, but then like, the idea is to have this conversation. And then if you need, use this, okay? Give me a thumbs up if you're clear with me so far. All right, beautiful. So anything you learned from Bhanuka's sharing, anything you want to share, what are you thinking about long-term planning as of now? Like, are you guys thinking about this? What is happening in your mind? Or do you have a long-term plan already?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You go ahead, big boy. You go ahead.
All right. My entity, we do have a long-term plan. We just kind of had the LCPs in the latest president meeting. We had 2 generations of LCPs write down their ambitions for ISEC Australia 2025 aligned to ISEC 2025 in much the same way that we did it in IC India a few years ago. So now I think what I'd like to do is incorporate that into pre-planning for the MC. And the main thing I'm thinking is using conference cycles to implement. So we have our planning conference for LCs coming up in about a month. So I'm going to do MC planning. We're going to downscale, have LCs co-create the strategy at least for the next 6 months in the planning conferences. We'll consolidate at the national conference in January and then tweak in April. So that's my outlook right now. And I think everything makes sense in my head insofar as conference cycles and everyone being together to allow this roadmap to happen. So yeah, that's my sharing. I think I feel quite validated with what Bhanuka said. I think I'm on the right track.
Thanks, Michael. Makes sense. Like how to incorporate that into the planning, what LCPs did. Arfan, you want to share?
Yeah, I actually, one of the key things I just wanted to share from the entity's perspective, something I've noticed in ISEC in Bangladesh. One of the things that I noticed was that the lack of reason that, projects got discontinued was because of the fact that there was not good enough documentation of what happened and no proper debrief or nothing like that. So this is something that I'm at least making it a point, like because I from a root cause analysis I understood that the biggest issue by projects, like there were things that Louise did in her term that I didn't know about, but then they were actually good projects. The thing why it didn't go forward is because of the lack of documentation and not being, we didn't document the MOS and all of that was not very clear. So definitely that is one thing that I'm looking at mostly from my end, how to improve documentation of projects.
Thank you for mentioning that. Yeah, in terms like when I mention additional KPIs, it could be this like documentation, transition, all these things are like knowledge management or IAM in general could be also like look at all subsystems, like in the good old days, we used to talk about IAM and then we had like knowledge management as one of the projects, usually MCPs or TM or someone takes it up and that used to happen. But then like if you want to take it forward, then do it. Like it makes a lot of sense for like Bangladesh. Just want to give like last couple of tips. Like when you brainstorm for long-term plan, first is focus on what you know, but acknowledge there is a lot that we don't know. Like something like COVID can happen, and then all the long-term plans could go on a toss. So like acknowledge that, like especially when you're making investments and all. Like why I'm telling you this is acknowledge that there is still a lot you don't know. But then still focus on what you already know about the factors. Say, for example, now MXP is going to stay, right? So you can think about how to make MXP like a regular routine, or VPP is there to stay. So how do you plan for VPP, that sort of operations, or like GV started resuming. So how do you plan for that? Like focus on the things you already know. Don't put a legacy pressure on your successes. probably one of the most important thing I can tell. Continuity is important, but not at the cost of context. Like I have seen so much resources, money, everything go to waste simply because MCPs were adamant on certain projects continuing, right? Like millions of like, I can't even tell the number, but then I have seen this happening. Like people just waste a lot of resources on legacy projects. Hey, we have created this system or we have created this thing, and then your successes must continue. If it doesn't make sense with their context, they're not going to continue it. Know this. And especially when creating a long-term plan, like plan for this. Like just because you think it's best right now in the current context doesn't mean it's necessarily going to stay longer. This is where you need to think about like the like horizontal growth or vertical growth. Growth fundamentally doesn't lie in perfection, but continuous improvements have like a direction, but then what you can start right now from replanning only is continuous improvement towards that direction. Like one thing Bhanuka mentioned, like number of leadership experiences, but then how do we actually reach there is then now they start tracking like the STM stuff, these kind of things, the partnership things he mentioned, like, step by step, he had NPS, RR, everything in plan, right? So it lies in continuous improvement. Like how do you improve continuously over that? That's important. This is something I think Michael mentioned in when Luis was sharing or something, like past success doesn't necessarily indicate the future success. Doesn't and vice versa also. Like if something failed in the past doesn't mean it will fail in the future. Something succeeded in the past doesn't mean it will succeed in the future. So when you create a long-term plan, specifically know this, don't just focus on completely on your strength, but then think about a little bit about vertical growth also. Hey, we never did GTE, but what if next 3 years, if we have enough manpower, if we have enough, if we can do brand research and stuff, then why not? Like these are kind of conversations should also be open and allowed and valid. And there will always be things out of your control, but then like that's something like you technically can't focus on those. So like just know that. Last 3 tips, sorry, it's taking a bit longer and then we should already be back. But like 3 questions you'd ask yourself is what can you start measuring now to keep the track of progress in your long-term plan? How often shall I visit my long-term plan? I would suggest about every monthly review, you should have at least KPI reporting. And every quarter review, you should have like a thorough review with at least MC team. In per semester planning, you should do it with the network. This is my suggestion or recommendation, but then you can take it forward. Make this at least a routine and then you're good to go. And last but not the least, impact versus effort prioritization. Grab those low-hanging fruits, make sure, but then at the same time, plan for a bit longer. I would say 20% of the time, MCPs and at least 1 or 2 people in the LCP commission together, you should be thinking about this long-term plan, 2 years, 3 years down the line. And yeah, that's pretty much about it for this space. If 2 things you take back from this space should be, ask yourself this question, like what are the 2-3 guiding questions you want to ask your MC team to come up with a long-term plan for your entity, and what exactly, which space in your replanning are you going to talk about this? It can be 2025 space, what is you mentioned, like what was this through facilitating, or you can create like a separate space before that as like MC preparation, planning preparation, and then that is the space you talk about the long-term plan. But then make sure that you have this space. And yeah, that's pretty much about it from my side. Thank you, peeps. It's time to go back to the main plenary. Any questions?